everyone, welcome to the Kessel Run. My name is Ryan, aka Graham, and this is a show covering Star Wars The Old Republic by Bioware. Today we're going to be covering patch 1.1, all the major changes. We're not going to cover all the little class changes, the small tooltips to spells, or every single bug fix. A lot of those, well, there's too many to go over in 12 minutes. We're going to cover the major ones. Also at the end, I'm going to talk about some questions that I've heard from people in game, friends, guildies, just randomly. Hopes to get some knowledge out there and save you some time in the future. Alright, let's kick this off. Alright, first we're going to be talking about anti-aliasing. Now what this is when you're running around and there's flat edges or smooth edges, some performances they can look a little jagged. So what anti-aliasing does is it smooths them out, make it more of a continuous line, makes things just look a little bit better, and doesn't tax performance at all. While there's no solid fix for those people who have FPS issues in Battlegrounds, Bioware has put out information on it and they're working on it, trying to get the issue fixed. So hopefully that'll come around in a patch soon. Alright, some major general issues. First off, guard. Thank you. Previously, before this patch, every time you use guard, you have to cast it on someone. And then when you want to transfer it to a new person, you have to uncast it and then recast it. So what they're doing is you can just transfer it to a new person without recasting it, which is going to be great for all tanks. It's going to make guard a lot more usable. Hopefully we'll see more than a few people using it. Two big nerfs that are coming up. They're nerfs, but they're needed nerfs, which is Biochem and Cybertech. Biochem, they're nerfing high-end rating med packs because rating guilds are starting to consider these mandatory. Everyone has to have Biochem because it's on a 90-second cooldown and can restore up to half your life. It's just becoming way too much of an influence, and Bioware doesn't want a profession to be required to do content. Same with Cybertech. They have grenades that were just unbalancing PvP. So both of those are being nerfed to kind of bring them in line with other professions and make it so that everybody can be useful. Another big thing that's being fixed is the quest log. I'm sure most of you who have reached higher levels will notice you'll get advanced stages of a quest, like the bonus series, and you can't abandon them. Well, from now on, after the patch hits, you can abandon these things, which is great, because I thought I was going to have to carry around some Nar Shaddaa and Balmorra crap and forever. And now we're going to be able to get rid of them, so that's good. What really surprised me is Bioware's coming out with a new flashpoint called Can Under Siege. It's a Rise of the Rakghouls kind of themed flashpoint. Kind of like a zombie look. I think it looks awesome. I was not expecting them to come out with a new Flashpoint within a month of launch. I haven't even gotten through all the ones that they have already. So this is an awesome step. If we keep seeing content this quickly, it's a great precedent. It's going to be a lot of fun to get that into gear. Also, they're doing a lot of bug fixes to bosses of the current hard modes and normal modes. Like I said, there's just way too many to go over. There's literally dozens and dozens. Check the patch notes. I'll put a link below so you can see exactly which flashpoints are affected. Alright, Raiders are also getting some love. They're adding 4 new bosses to Karaga's Palace, including a hut in a top hat, which is awesome. And he's driving a giant robot, so even better. It's kind of cool to see a little bit of goofiness mixed in with the huts, because they're giant slugs that rule the crime in the galaxy. I mean, also, the Eternity Vault is getting a lot of bug fixes. The Raiders, the people that I know that are in raids, have seen these notes. They're really happy with the bug fixes that are going down. So hopefully Bioware's doing a good job of smoothing out the issues that have been present so far. PvP, lots to talk about for PvP. First off, they are adding a whole bunch of new high-end relics to bring them in line with other gear. They are adding a level 50 Warzone bracket, which is great, because once you hit 50, you start getting expertise gear on your gear. And that just completely unbalances things when the bolster mechanic can't basically measure up to that. Because what they do is they take your gear, bolster it to that gear equivalent at 50, but without expertise. So once you get people in Battle Masters and Champions gear, they're just destroying everyone, and no one can hurt them if you don't have expertise. So it's really unbalancing PvP, making it a pain in the butt for those who don't have expertise. So the level 50 only bracket will make things a lot more enjoyable, while in some servers it might be slow, while there's not a lot of 50s yet. It's better that it comes sooner rather than later. Ilum's getting some love also. The daily before was just you'd only get it filled by capping nodes. Now you're going to be able to complete your daily by defending nodes, capping nodes, killing other people, or looting armaments. So hopefully there will be a lot more activity in the Ilum zone. You're also getting increased valor for kills, both depending on how many nodes your faction controls and whether or not you're on a node. If you're on a node, then you also get more valor for killing players there. They're also changing PvP armaments that you get from the Battlemaster bags. Instead of getting one for a bracer or boots or a gun, you're getting a general one. And you'll be able to turn those in for the pieces that you want. So this way you won't be getting all these doubles and triples. And yeah, they're cleaning it up. I approve the change. I don't like the randomness. I think that being able to go for a piece and getting it, much more rewarding. Also on Ilum, they're getting rid of companions in the PvP zone. So you won't have to worry about killing the companions or having the companions. It's just going to be players, so a lot more straightforward, which, nice. Alright, moving on to some questions. I see a lot, my guild does Datacron runs every week. So we'll go to a planet and say, hey, who wants Datacrons? And everyone goes, not everyone, but people go, what are Datacrons? And I find myself having to explain. What a Datacron is out in the world you find these little boxes, this Datacron. And when you click on it, it gives you permanent boost to your stats. There's either between 3 and 5 on every planet, and they're always worth getting. Mixed in with the Datacrons are matrix shards. And people are always like, what are these? Useless. No. What you do is you save up these matrix shards. They're in your mission inventory, so you don't even need to worry about them. And once you get enough of them, there's a spot on either Dromenkos or Coruscant where you can go and combine them to make a relic. And the relic, depending on how many matrix shards you use, depends on how powerful it is. So saving those up can be, will basically net you some nice relics while you're just getting your Datacrons. So grab them while you're there. Alright, really quick, going to cover crafting, mainly reverse engineering. Get a lot of questions about this from friends. What reverse engineering does is it takes a recipe that you make, say a low green, and you can reverse engineer it, and you can get a new recipe from that, or a new pattern. Greens become blues, one of 3 usually. Then the blues, you can reverse engineer those recipes that you learned and get epics, and that's where the good gear from crafting comes from. I don't know if you can go higher than epic yet. I don't know if anyone's found anything higher than epic, and I think each blue can disenchant into one of 5 different epic recipes. So you have to keep going sometimes to try and get the piece with the stats that are just right for you. But yeah, that's why there's a lot more diversity to crafting and a lot more to it than shows up from the vendor. Another one, every time someone hits their legacy level, they get that extra little experience bar at the bottom and they're like, what's this do? What's a legacy level? Why do I keep getting points for it? Alright, a legacy level, we have no idea. Bioware has addressed it. They've talked about it, including in notes associated with this patch. They say there's a lot of cool stuff coming, but we have no idea what. They're not telling us. They're holding it close to the chest. But yeah, it's going to be exciting when it happens. Alright, last thing that I want to cover is companion comparison. Basically, when you mouse over a piece of gear, it shows a comparison between that piece of gear and you. And a lot of people hate that they can't see it compared to their current companion. You can. In your UI, or in your preferences, you go to user interface, scroll down to tooltips, and enable companion comparative tooltips. And what that will do is whenever you mouse over a piece of gear, it'll show you the piece of gear, how it compares to you, and then how it compares to your companion. All right next to each other. So that makes things a lot easier. I didn't even really gear companions for the first like 20 levels because I just couldn't be bothered to back and forth. That's it for week 1 of the Kessel Run. I hope you guys liked it. It was fun to make. I've been spending a lot of time learning a lot more about the game, patches, to bring this to you. What I'm trying to do is just go out, find all this information, and condense it to one spot. So aside from the video, I'm going to be putting some links down below to sites that I've found helpful, from Datacron guides to other video guides, to everything I can find that's interesting and helpful to the game. I'm going to take it, put it below, kind of compile it for everyone to use to their advantage. Alright, this is Graham. Have a good time.